Hi, Dr. Karen Can here with another edition of the Spiritual Medicine Digest for the week of September 18th, 2017. This past weekend I went to Ottawa to see my medical school friends. We were having our 25th anniversary. And I got to tell you, it was actually really refreshing seeing my colleagues again. It's not like all of them were there, but the ones that I spoke to, they seem happy. They seem to love what they're doing. And I'm just so happy, that they love what they're doing. And, there's certainly at least one person that I met who's kind of, shimmied over to my side of the medical, interests as far as, holistic health care. And she's in Kingston. And, she is putting people on nutritional therapies and sending them to laser therapies and really finding some of the stuff that we learned in medical school is just not true anymore. But, even though I think I have been jaded over the last several years about, my medical colleagues and what they do and don't believe and, conventional medicine versus, alternative medicine. And really it shouldn't be anyway, a fight and either or, that kind of thing. But sometimes our minds tend to polarize things. But when I went to see my friends again and spoke with them, it was really a feeling like, togetherness and not feeling like one against the other or one's this way and it's that way. I did get one strange look, when I was telling people about spiritual medicine, but, for the most part, I felt accepted and it was just so delightful just to see people that love what they do. And I'm sure you know what that's like when you meet people that really love what they do. Yeah, maybe it's conventional medicine, but still they're helping people, and that's really why they got into medicine. So we have to kind of realize that the grand majority, of the people going to medical school are those with big hearts that are altruistic and really want to help the world. And according to my friends in Ottawa who are in the know, medical school is incredibly difficult to get into in Canada now. Canada's very small compared to the United States, and there's only 5 medical schools or something crazy like that. So to get in, not only do you have to have a perfect 4.0 grade average, but you have to have done something with your life. And in other words, you can't be just fresh out of school. Like many of these, have multiple degrees. They have PhDs. They've done research. They've done the Peace Corps. There's all sorts of stuff. It's like, wow, this next generation of medical doctors coming out of Canada, at least, because that's what I know, what I heard, is going to be pretty amazing. So that is pretty cool. I bet you didn't know that. So it's actually pretty darn hard to get into medical school nowadays. A lot of these folks are a lot older too. They're not kids anymore, immature kids, like I was. Anyway, so we are now in the expansion phase of the Ascension, and that started about Sunday-ish. So if you haven't watched my videos before, I'm just going to review during the expansion phase of the Ascension cycles. What happens is that we become more gifted in our senses. So our clairs get stronger. So, clairvoyance, clairsentience, particularly their ability to feel and sense things. Clairaudience, clairgustance, clairessence, claircognizance, direct knowing, which is totally awesome. So our ability to receive information is greater. We have stronger gifts just overall across the board. So that comes with some issues sometimes with people, especially us sensitives like us earth angels or starseeds or indigos. So what happens is that sometimes our boundaries will come down temporarily as we are going through this expansion phase, and sometimes it's necessary to come down. I don't really understand how to explain it to you except when I ask Source about it. What I'm getting is that sometimes it's sort of like, to get more treasures, the castle sometimes has to bring the drawbridge down so that, you know, the horses can carry the gold and the gems and everything into the city. And then, you know, when they're done, then you can raise the drawbridge again. So that was the visualization that I got today from Source when I was asking about it. So it's not to say that every time your drawbridge is down, then, oh my gosh, you're going to be inundated with marauders or negative stuff. But I think the timing of the universe is such that, you know, temporarily sometimes our boundaries can go down for positive purposes and then they come back up. So you can always, if you're sensitive and you're feeling other people's stuff, you can always check how your boundaries are and put them back up yourself very quickly with Topocan healing directive. So you can check how healthy are my physical boundaries, mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic, dimensional. And if they're not 100%, you know, just command that they be 100% restored in the highest and best way. And if they are stubborn and they don't restore, you can just ask, is it necessary and for my highest and greatest good to have this boundary down right now? So the other thing besides boundaries that can happen is that our intuitive firewalls can go down. Now, the firewalls is a term that I created to describe something that prevents us from getting intuitive information from other timelines that does not impact us specifically physically in this timeline. So these firewalls prevent us from getting way too much information from other timelines. Sometimes these fall as well during the expansion phase. So again, you can recheck them. Now, in my Ascension packages and my deep healing packages, there are already instructions there for the God team to automatically restore your boundaries, restore your firewalls. So hopefully this won't be a big deal for you, but of course you can always check with Divine Muscle Testing and put them back up yourself in case you feel like you're getting too sensitive. So the other interesting news is that we found out that Starseeds all over the world have created a type of Starseed consciousness cosmic grid. So this is a grid that is in our galaxy. It's positive. It's a grid that may be beneficial. Now, of course, all of our starseed consciousness create it, but it may be that energy of the entire grid may be a positive energy or morphic field that you could benefit from. So you can just check in to see if you would benefit from the morphic field of this cosmic starseed energy grid, and then you can download it to yourself. And we talk about, you know, how to do that in the Topocan Healing Level 1 training. So the other interesting 2 downloads that have been happening for the last week or so, one I actually did not want to talk about because I don't really understand it to explain it, but maybe some of you will know what it is. So it is called, or what I call it is like the overseer. So it's not it's intelligent, but it's not exactly like a separate personality. So it's not like your higher self personality. It's not like a spirit. It's not human. It's not, you know, an extraterrestrial. I mean, it's not an archangel. It's not an ascended master, but it is the one that oversees, oversees all your soul lives from all your different timelines, all your oversouls, etc. So that's why I call it the overseer. So it even oversees all your oversouls from all multiple timelines and multiple, you know, realities. So what I'm getting is that this overseer also needs to upgrade and ascend to a more evolved state. So you might find that, you know, you are working with the Topocan healing guides, and you might find that, you know, under, you know, spiritual anatomy, there's something that, you know, you need to download, but you don't know what it is, or maybe guide number 2, I can't remember where it shows up. Under energetic, I think, but I think it's mostly with guide number 3 where it shows up, where it says spiritual anatomy. So somewhere in there, usually the overseer shows up. And then if you've looked on everything in guide 3 and it's not there, ask, you know, if the overseer is something that you need to address or have to evolve. So if this keeps coming up over and over again, we will add that to this particular guide, but for now it might be a temporary thing. The other thing that is a positive download is cell membrane. Now, the cell membrane will often show up in the guide number 2, downloading positive energies, and it is under B for B, where it says 100% healthy morphic fields. Okay, so these can be morphic fields of anything, including, you know, meridians and things like that. that. So the cell membrane, if you have a 100% healthy cell membrane and yet you're asked to download something for the cell membrane, what it probably is the newer, more evolved, ascended frequency or morphic field for the cell membranes or your cell membranes. So just ask if you need or would benefit from an upgraded, evolved cell membrane morphic field, and optimize morphic field of the cell membrane. It's the other way to ask. And if you do, you can just go ahead and download and activate it for yourself using Topocan Healing. Okay, so those are the two things that have come up, the overseer and the cell membrane, and then just today the cosmic grid we found out about. The other thing I want to share with you is that some of us, myself included, have definitely some issues with regards to swelling in our bodies. So it's not necessarily for our highest good physically, although there was a time where it was, but now it's getting to be excessive for some of us. But my understanding is that this extra water that's on board is mostly easy water. Now, from the radio show with Gerald Pollack, we found out that easy water was like a gel-like substance, and it had crystalline structure, so a higher vibrational water. So I was asking Source today, why is it that some of us have 7 or 8 or 9 pounds of this extra easy water? And the answer was so that we can send energy. Okay, so, and manipulate energy. And it's sort of like it helps us do that. Now, does everyone that can do that well necessarily are fat or bigger or whatever? I don't know the answer to that. But we did ask Source, well, if it's not necessarily for our highest good physically, but it is for other reasons, is there something we can do to replace the easy water so that we can, have the same energy or still evolve without necessarily having to gain 10, 20, 30 pounds of extra water? So I got the answer was yes. And this is very interesting. Would love feedback on this from those of you in the spiritual healing world. The energy of moldavite, which is a crystal. Apparently, if we create a moldavite envelope around our cells, and in this case, just aligning, the peritoneum and also the chakras, at least the ones in the body, the first 7 chakras. If you create a moldavite envelope, that will kind of do the same thing as the easy water was doing. So it's a grand experiment. So some of us are trying that out to see if that's for the highest and greatest good. Well, actually, we are testing it's for the highest and greatest good, but we're testing to see whether or not we have the ability to drain out some of this gel-like water in our bodies and instead use this moldavite grid or moldavite envelope in the chakras and around every single cell and organ to do the same work as all that fluid. I would really love to release some of this fluid. It's getting kind of heavy doing, figure skating lifts. Anyway, the other thing I want to share with you is that if you have not listened to last Monday's radio show with Kathy Homeyer talking about light wave and the human spirit access portal, you definitely want to check out that radio show, because if you have a human spirit or spirit human access portal clogged up, then you may have difficulty being in your body. So your spirit might have great difficulty physically being in your body, especially the lower half of your body. So check out that radio show. Lots of great stuff there. And coming up on a radio show is going to be very special for me because Baxter Bell from Baxter Bell Yoga, he is a medical doctor who wrote the book Yoga for Healthy Aging. So we're going to be talking to him about how yoga can assist and support all of us through the aging process. And not only is he a super cool guy and author, he is also a personal friend of mine. So I hope you will join us for that radio show. The radio shows are still 3 p.m. Eastern on Mondays. And if you don't know what the link is, just get on my mailing list at KarenCan.com and we'll send you the exact link for the show. And you can call in and ask questions, or you can write in questions in the chat. All right, so have a wonderful week, everyone, and God bless. Bye for now. Lots of love.